Hi everyone, welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. Welcome to all the new people that have joined my channel recently. This is the Knitting Turnpike. My name is Gina, and I'm so glad you're here to sit and talk with me about knitting and crochet a little bit, and some yarn and whips and finished projects. So today I'm coming to you from lovely outside. It's a little cold, but it's sunshiny, which I love. It kind of feels like spring is on its way. It's a beautiful day here, and I hope that you all are having a beautiful day yourself. I am coming to you today to share with you a finished project. Yay! Whew, this one kicked my tush. It really did. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you guys all know that I participated in Stephen West's Hiberknitalong 2020. And this year, I need to sit up a little bit. This year, he gave us not one shawl, but 2 shawls and a hat pattern. If you purchased his Hiberknitalong pattern, you got 3 beautiful patterns with that one purchase. And I was like, I had just finished knitting his Slip Stravaganza in November, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. It was gorgeous. I loved it. And because I had given that to a friend of mine, I was like, I need to knit a Stephen West for maybe myself, or who knows what will happen to it. And then, he released the Hiberknitalong, so I jumped on that bandwagon, and I started with the Woven Chevrons Shawl, because to me, I loved knitting that chevron border in the Slip Stravaganza. I loved it. I loved it. So I was like, well, okay, in this let me step back a second. In the Hiberknitalong, the 2 shawl patterns that he released are based on the Slip Stravaganza. There's the honeycomb section in that Winter Lights shawl, and then there's the that gorgeous chevron border in the Woven Chevrons shawl. So I'm like, I loved that Woven Chevron border. I'm going to start with the Woven Chevron shawl. So I said, I'm going to start with the Woven Chevron shawl. And if you've watched any of my videos about this whole Hiberknitalong 2020, you guys know that I made a huge mistake. I had all these colors picked. They were beautiful, bright colors. I thought, because he loves to knit with bright colors, I'm going to knit with bright colors. And they looked bad. I picked the wrong color as my main color. I should have picked the dark color as my main color, and I think it would have looked better. But I was like, ooh, Huey, Pewee. I'm gonna throw these to the side and do something with them later. And I picked 4 different colors as my colors for the Woven Chevron. And I started knitting it. And this shawl, it is not an easy shawl. So let me step back for a second before I get into that. If you guys are interested in seeing my Winter Lights shawl, I'll put a picture here. I have a series of videos about the knitting of that shawl, that whole process. I basically did a video every time I had a new section, and I think there's 6 videos total in my on my channel about the Winter Lights shawl, and I absolutely loved knitting that shawl. It was amazing. The yarn I picked had some cashmere in it, so it was lovely to feel. The color work was amazing. Those honeycombs were, I love those honeycombs. That's my favorite part of that shawl. Anyway, so go check that out if you are interested in seeing that. But now we're going to talk about the Woven Chevrons Shawl, which really totally kicked my tushy tush. First of all, like I said, I've already explained to you, I made that mistake with the yarn color choices, so I had to start over. Then, as I got to knitting this, I just kept having, I couldn't get a rhythm around it. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Give me 1 second and we'll go over. All right, here we go. This is the Woven Chevrons Shawl. And this is my version of it. I love the colors I ended up using. I had a 3-skein gradient from Madeline Tosh, which are the light, medium, and dark grays, and then I used Madeline Tosh Merino Light Bluestow as my main color, that blue color. Sorry, I am outside and there's a little bit of traffic today because it's the weekend. Let me show you about this shawl. I'll try to get some different angles here and I'll get up close for the details. But basically this shawl is this pattern over and over again, which is these chevrons in a triangle. So it's geometrically really eye-catching. I love this design. It's just, to me, it's really beautiful. And also it's windy out here, so I'm sorry about that. I need to find a better way to show you guys my shawl without having to hang them here in the wind. Anyway, let's just get up here and get close on the details. All right. You start on this end. This is where I first started. You start, you do an I-cord, you create an I-cord. I have a lovely video that helps you. It's an easy method of doing an I-cord for an I-cord cast on. You do an I-cord, you pick up the stitches along this I-cord, and then you just start knitting, and you've got your color 1, your color 2, your color 3. Then you rotate these. You do your color 1 again, color 2, and color 3, and just over and over again. You'll see it goes 1, 2, 3 in order. And one really interesting thing about this is you have these points right here, these points of interest. You got one here, you've got one here in the center, and you've got one here. I'm sorry, I'm really fighting this wind. And around these points of interest, you got the I-cord on the edge, so you have an I-cord border on each edge here. And then around these points of interest, you have to pay attention because there are decreases happening around these, and they're different. So like, see on this row, you're slipping the main color. In this same spot on the next row up, you're knitting the color that you're using. Then you go back to slipping the main color. You go back to knitting the color that you're using. And you're doing that all throughout the shawl, so it's alternating, as you can see, where you knit, slip, knit, slip, knit, slip. And you do that all the way throughout. Once you knit 6 of these rows, you cast on another I-cord right here and start over. But then your shawl is 2 sections wide. You knit 6 rows, cast on another I-cord, and now your shawl is 3 sections wide. And you knit 6 rows, which you do colors 1, 2, and 3 twice, and then once you get through with that, you cast on another I-cord, and now your shawl is 4 sections big, and so on. I think you guys get the picture. I did 5. Here's 5, and 6, and I went to 7. And my last section, you can see, is only this big because each section is only 6 rows long. What makes it more challenging as you do it is the shawl gets bigger and bigger as you do it. This pattern is written to do 9 of those sections, but you can do as many as you want. I mean, you could make a blanket out of this. You could do 100 of these, or you could do 2 of these and make a really skinny scarf. It's whatever you want to make it. But I just think these chevrons are really beautiful with these points of decreases, these points. It brings the chevron to a point. It looks like a bunch of arrows in a triangle. I love it. It's just very eye appealing. And at the top, this design, I did block it a little bit, but it was already doing these points here like this, so I blocked it just to accentuate that, but it was already doing that. And I just think it's really interesting, and I think God's trying to get me to show you guys the back because of the wind. Let's go around and look at the back. But as you can see on the back side, here are my floats. This is where I'm slipping the colors for those points of interest. Most of the time it's just easy knitting, but you do have floats, and you don't knit them too loose or too tight so that they block and they're not, you know, they're not hanging. They're just nice and neat. And there's the edges, you know, so you do have floats all throughout this shawl, but if you know, just knit just right, not too loose, not too loose or not too tight, they turn out pretty well, and you can block it, which is what you need to do, is you need to be able to block this shawl. And anyway, that's what the back looks like, and I hope you can see that well because of the sun coming through. So when you get to the end of this shawl, you do close it out. You started with an I-cord cast on, and you do the I-cord cast on all throughout these little sections like I explained, but it's only appropriate that you do an I-cord cast off, bind off for this shawl. I think I'm blocking the sun, as you can see. So this thing is completely covered with I-cords. You got I-cords here on the edge, I-cords at the top, I-cords at the bottom, and I-cords along the edge. So this shawl is completely surrounded by an I-cord. Another thing I wanted to mention in the knitting of this shawl, I would say this shawl is an average shawl in difficulty to knit, because you have the pattern changing every time you have a color change, and you have a lot of color changes, and you need to make sure you have the right color and you're getting the right pattern. It's really not something I would knit while I'm watching TV or YouTube videos. And I would really, you know, I paid attention, or I messed up and I had to undo it. So that's just me, but thought I'd share that with you as well. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with you. I actually have a finished project instead of all these whips all the time. I did finish something. Yay! And again, thank you guys so much for being here. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of stuff. I am so happy you're here watching this video, and I really do hope you all have a very wonderful, beautiful, and blessed day. Thank you guys so much.